Hello, hello! This is Sarah from sarahdesign.com, and I am recording a video of the glitter version of my Skinny Acrylic Tumbler Mockup. So let me just show you the layers here. We have a main folder which has the tumbler in it. There's a spot down underneath called Optional Bright Area, which you can't really tell what's in there. Maybe if I hide the background you can. Nope, can't tell there. So the background is just white. If we put a layer above the background, this will show you what the Optional Bright layer does. So let me hide the Optional Bright layer. Now, if I go above the white layer and I put in a solid color, we're going to fill it with my foreground color. We'll go up to Edit, Fill, Foreground color, and that's just because I picked a pretty purple in there. So this is one way that you could showcase this tumbler is on this pretty solid color background, right? But what if you want to make it stand out a little more or look a little bit more exciting? Well, you can add a radial gradient in there. And I could show you how to make that from scratch, but I just went ahead and made it for you. So this is just a big white gradient that's a radial, meaning it's in a circle coming from the middle out to the edges. So you can put any color in this purple area and it will look just as cool with that radial gradient in there, the optional bright area. So see how pretty that is? So that's one thing that you can do with this file. I'm just going to leave that on for now. Alrighty, now I've opened up the Tumbler folder. And inside of it, at the very bottom, we have shadow to the right. So you can see the shadow is going over here. And we also have shadow to the left. So you can pick whichever one you like. There's the tumbler itself. There are the color options on the tumbler. That's this layer right here. Can't see anything happening because no colors are turned on. And then you have glitter options above that. That's another folder. Again, no colors are turned on, so you can't tell. And then where it says Smart Object, that's this layer. If you want to put in a new design, you just go to this Smart Object layer, which is right here, double click on the thumbnail on the left, open it up, and you could hide the one that's in there. You could put a new one in. Say this says, hello. Grab a pretty font. And we'll make it big. That wasn't big enough. Make it bigger. This is just for demo purposes, so you can know what a smart object does. Note that I am using a blue color in here, but so you could color this if you wanted to. That's one way to add color. But let me show you what happens back on the main file, because we can actually change this color back on the main file. So the next thing we have to do now that we've changed our what's inside our smart object, you can see there's an asterisk up here in the corner, means we have not saved. You need to hit save. Then you can totally close that, go back to the original, and there it is. Now if we wanted to say, oh, I don't want blue, out here in the main layer, we can change the color really easily with this color effects layer, which is currently turned off. I'm going to turn it on. And you can see that the effect I have here is black. If I double click on color overlay, I could pick different colors to put in there. Pick green, we could pick blue, pink, whatever, and hit OK. And there's that color layer. And if you're like, I don't want to do a color layer here, what I had inside the smart object is what I want, you just hide it by turning off the little eye. And there you go. Now in your smart object, you could have totally just pasted a black thing. It doesn't have to be white, or it could have been gray, who knows. But that's okay. I happen to have a color effect in here, but note that the color effect that's sitting out here in the main window is basically stronger than the one inside the smart object. So you could change a color in here and come out here and be like, it's not working, and that's because this effect out here has a stronger effect than the one inside. So don't get confused by that. If ever you're trying to change color and you think you're doing it right, just check inside the smart object and outside the smart object and see if there's any color overlays turned on. Hopefully that was not confusing. I'm going to delete what I had. I'm going to hit save. and close this, go back here and turn that off. All right, so that's a smart object. You can also completely hide it, and your design covers basically from here to down here. Okay, so glitter options. Now what if you want there to be glitter on this? I'm gonna hide the smart object for a second. So I have 3 depths of glitter. Like if you were dipping glitter, I looked at what common heights people were dipping them to, and I found that people are not doing a full tumbler. If I'm wrong about this, do let me know if that's something that you do. But mostly I was just seeing a really low dip like this, which I've counted as 1/6 of the height. A little bit higher, I'm calling 2/6 and a half. So those are the ones that I've built in. I made these each a different color, so it's obvious to you that these are different things happening. Now, changing the color inside of them is super easy. First of all, there's this optional shading layer on top, which if you turn that off, just looks a little bit more flat and less realistic. So I turn that back on, it adds a little shading on the edges. Then we have our color layer, which if you hide it, it goes back to the original color, which you can see in the layer below is gold. And you can see also because I've turned it off. Turn that back on, then our color layer is applied. If you want to change that color layer, just double click this little gradient shape. And you can come in here and you can drag the hue slider around. You can also make things more saturated or less, which makes it look more black and white. And lightness, again, can get brighter, it can get darker. Very easy to play with that. And then the tumbler itself can also be a color. So let's go off and we'll hide glitter options for a second. Now, one extra thing that I have on here is this layer right here. It's called white straw, because sometimes you have a straw that matches the color of your tumbler and sometimes it's just clear. So if you have a clear or white straws that you sell with yours, then you turn this layer on. If not, turn it off. And then it's going to pick up whatever color you pick for the tumbler itself. Right now, this rainbow set, these layers right here are some common colors that I've seen people selling, so I went ahead and just figured out, basically, I estimated what shade would match those actual ones that you could sell. And I just made a layer of each, so it'll be super easy for you. But you can also edit any of these really easily. So we've got purple, blue, and so on and so forth. If you want to edit one, if you want to make a new one, I suggest you take one that exists, drag it down onto this little dog ear icon at the bottom to make a copy, hide your original, and edit that. And you can just slide around in here to change that color. Okay, I'm going to delete that. And then the last thing to show you is how it looks if you add the two together. So you can change the color of the tumbler and then change the color of the glitter at the same time. So it's very easy. Hope you enjoyed the tutorial and that it was helpful. And be sure to head over to my site, sarahdesign.com, and follow me here so you see the rest of my videos. Happy selling!